Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Life Stories. Today, I'm very happy to introduce you to Adaeze Iloeje-Udeogalanya. She's the founder and CEO of African Women in STEM, an organization whose mission is to help African women grow into leadership, to take ownership of their careers and lives, reach their full potential, and pay it forward to others. So, I'm going to call you Ada. Okay, so going forward, so Ada, welcome to the show. Welcome to Real Life Stories.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And yeah, first of all, our listeners and me are really eager to hear your story. So you started as a project engineer a while ago, and now you are a founder and CEO of a company that is doing so much impact. So tell us about your journey.
It's an interesting one, and thank you for asking this question because it made me think about some of the things that I seem to have forgotten. So I started my career as a piping engineer, project engineer, back when I graduated from college in Nigeria. And the interesting thing, the podcast about leadership was that it was my very first role out of college, but for some reason I was kind of thrown into a leadership position. Not by title, but just by the virtue of the responsibility that I had. So we're working on this project. It's a huge project, and I was working with a project manager. But then I had to not just assist him to manage the project, but also assist him with like employee what do you call it? When assessments, like
Yes.
going through how they performed on the project and the assessments and how they're going to be vetted and having those conversations. So you can imagine me coming out of college
Oh
to
yeah, that
come to talk to people that have been working for some years that are making more money than me, senior to me. That was very scary. But then again, I felt, okay, he asked me to do it, I'm going to have to do it. So that was like my first true test of leadership. Like, what does it mean to be a leader? What does it mean to be able to stand up and manage people and manage situations and just do your work the way you're supposed to? So that was the beginning. And then after that, I did my master's and then I started working in the industry. By virtue of the work that I did, I was pipeline engineer. We managed a lot of projects. So I typically had to coordinate the work because I had several disciplines within the project. I had external contractors within the project. So by virtue of that, regardless of what my title was, I literally had to lead a team all the time and every time. So that already came in handy because I was like, I did this straight out of college. I can definitely do it now. So having the opportunity throughout my entire career to manage teams, to lead teams, because ultimately your goal is to get from the beginning of the project through the project to the end, on time, on budget, to the client satisfaction. And however you got that done, that was your problem, but they just needed to make sure that the client got what it needed. So throughout my career, I had several opportunities to just lead, keep leading. So it just kind of kept building on top of each other until eventually I started getting the titles. I rose all the way up to senior director in my career. And beyond that, now I'm on my own, leading this very new company, but as a community, we've been around for 2 years because I started as a community and been growing. And right now, I guess the one thing that has led me from the beginning of my career to now, and that is making this easy, is that throughout my entire career and in my leadership positions, whether it's title or just by virtue of what I was doing, is that I actually believe so much in seeing people as people, understanding what they brought to the table, what they had to offer, and getting buy-in from them. Because I believe that if they buy into the project, they buy into the cause, they buy into whatever it is that I'm doing, then they're going to show up fully as themselves and give me even more than I ever imagined they could, because now they're owning it, they're taking ownership of it and it's theirs. So that's helping me now with Africa Women in STEM because actually when I started having one-on-one conversations with people and I got the buy-in because they saw this mission as part of their mission as well, and they're willing to support it and be a part of it and help it grow. So that's in a nutshell is my leadership journey, and that's how I've managed to make it through the years.
And that's awesome because yeah, you started from a very young age, having to review performance of people without a title. So then when the titles came, you already had the skills.
Mhm.
And so but I'm pretty sure that throughout your journey anyway, you had to learn different things that unlock new opportunities that help you keep growing.
I have a lot of stories.
I know.
However, there's one that that's one of the ones I'm really like, I think about, I'm really proud of how everything turned out. And it helped me to grow a lot as a leader and as a person. So I had this project that I was working on. I was put into work on a project. It was about $500 million total install cost, because that's kind of how we measure projects. Again, we are a design company, and then we have a client, and we get all the projects together and ship it to construction. But for this particular project, when we got the project, the client was trying something new. So for next, I did pipeline engineering, I designed oil and gas pipelines. So typically, as a design company, we coordinate the project and facilitate everything. So what happens is that whenever we get a project, there are certain aspects of the project that we will normally subcontract, because it made sense for us to work with people that we understood how they work, they understood how we work. They knew the kind of information we needed, and they were able to provide us, input in the format that we wanted.
Right.
So now with this client, they wanted to do things differently. So one of the critical parts that the design engineer needed to do the work well is survey. So we always had our own survey team, because that was a foundation for the design. And if you get the information, if you don't get enough information, if you get information wrong, if you cannot translate the data, that's a problem. But the client wanted to subcontract everything out themselves. So internally, we have a lot of groups. Externally, we had multiple contractors that the client was handling directly. Some of them was okay, but this particular one was actually really very challenging for us. Because first of all, it's the first time we're ever doing it this way. It's the first time the client ever tried it this way. It was the first time the surveyor ever did it that way. So we're all new to each other, new to the process, and we're trying to figure out how to work together. Well, in the
Right.
beginning, it didn't go very well. It didn't go very
I,
well. Because the
I
client was over here, we were over here, the software was over there, like in silos, with like, a bit of a window open so we could just throw information and catch it. So communication was just not effective. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, and it's so
And
hard, right?
yeah,
It's
it
so
is
hard
hard. It's
because yeah, and you can't do much because when it's on within your own company, well, yeah, I
Mhm.
mean everybody should collaborate and you can
Yes,
raise it, but if it's
yes,
your client and the client
yes,
doesn't communicate, they
yes.
just keep the ownership of information. How do you
Mhm.
go around it?
How do you go around it? And then the thing, like I told you, I'm coordinating the project, I'm facilitating everything. The client looks to me to get the job done. I have no power.
Yeah,
I have to be able to, get the information I need from the other contractors. So I was
yeah,
going to email, because we're not in the same location, so we communicate via emails. And for some reason, we just couldn't have virtual meetings. There was just a lot going on. So my solution to which I proposed to the client was, this is not working. We already began to slide in the schedule. Can we get together and just meet and talk? Because it was necessary that we had that, face to face, let's hash this out. But
yeah.
thankfully the client agreed and called like it was a 2-day meeting. The first day was very interesting, but it was really good because everybody had the opportunity to express themselves, talk about how they saw the project, how they saw the communication, how they saw the other person. It was really good because, we kind of created an environment where we just wanted to hear everybody out. And then the next day was, okay, now that we've heard everybody out, what's the plan forward? I mean, it wasn't easy, but literally almost at the end of the day, we got it done to a point where we kind of figured out how to communicate better, because the biggest thing was, people felt I didn't have to talk to the other consultant, you're a consultant like me. Why do I have to talk to you and things like that? But understanding that, me being the consulting engineer, I had to coordinate everything. My goal was, how do you want to communicate? How do you want us to communicate? How do you want information to relate to you? How do you want me to receive information? And as soon as we laid that out, it was so much easier, and the project went, much better going forward. So
Which
that was a huge one, because when I say $500 million, that's a lot of money. You don't want to mess up. Like, any delay could cost the client so much. And then one thing we all agreed on was everybody wanted to do a good job for the client, because ultimately everybody wanted the client to hire them again. So we found the common ground and we worked from there.
And that's very, very important because sometimes it's very, very hard to find common ground, especially if the consulting or the contracting companies, want to fight each other for a bigger piece of the cake.
Mhm.
But there will be no cake if the client is not happy, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Very true.
Right.
Yes.
So no, I love the story. I love it. So, and what did you learn from that? I mean, it was successful, but going forward from that experience, what did that unlock in your mindset?
To be honest, it was touch and go for a moment there. So when we were able to resolve this and ultimately get the project done, first of all, I was like, listen, I can do anything.
Yeah.
I can do anything. And then the other thing too is that the solution we're looking for actually is found within the problem that we're trying to solve. Sometimes you just have to look for it. So there was really no need to go somewhere else. We just had to figure out what was going on internally and use that. So those are the two main things for me that I could pretty much do anything. And then the solution is always within. Just look harder, you can find it.
Right. And from there to, African women in STEM. So is there any other things that that experience unlocked for you that helped you in this current experience in this role that you have now as founder and CEO?
Oh yeah, definitely relationships, building relationships. Because, like I said, that was the first time in my career that I didn't have of everybody on my team, like someone that I knew and had worked apart from people that were internal to me. And because it was a huge project, there were so many moving parts. There were so many subcontractors. There were a lot of things to get done and just coordinating all of that. But the best part of my job for me is just getting to know people and building those relationships. So the biggest thing there is understanding that, if you can build relationships, you can collaborate more effectively. And if you collaborate more effectively, then you can be successful in whatever it is that you're trying to do. So that has really like helped me throughout my career because it just reinforced what I actually thought and then helped me build upon that to realize that, hey, let's just get everybody together. We can always work it out regardless of whether we worked together before or not. Just find that common ground and then move forward from there. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love it because many times, we put ourselves a lot of limiting beliefs in our mind, especially when we work as contractors from a client and we think, oh no, yeah, I love communication and networking, but I can't talk to other contractors because the client won't like it.
Mhm.
And I think your example is great because it shows that there are no barriers to, actually doing good networking and good collaborations. And there is a lot, that everyone could benefit from. So
Mhm.
your company, because they'll get the project done, the client, because they will also get the benefit from it. So I love the message. So well,
Thank you.
no, and
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
So so how can people contact you? How can they know more about African women in STEM and more about you, Ada, and the job that you do?
Oh yeah, I am on LinkedIn. I do write a lot on LinkedIn. I try to curate information that will help professionals grow in their career. So you can always find me on LinkedIn. And if you have any specific questions for me, feel free to send me a message. But that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ada. And
Thank
I'm pretty
you.
sure a lot of people, knowing this experience, they can reach out, about anything that they want to learn about networking and collaboration and mentorship. So, well, thank you for being on Real Life Stories.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.